Actor picks the wrong sound crew to mess with. From user Ghosts of Sarabji. After that, I'm not paying a finder's fee for stolen property. Thief earns himself a felony instead. From user Dougie Fresh. After that, owner fires me, get sweet, sweet karma. From user Reyes Dog 222. Thank you so much to our posters for letting us read your stories. And if you would like your stories to be read next, please submit them to the r/Mr. Reddit subreddit. And if you're new, please subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories every single day. And for every thumbs up this video gets, one entitled parent will get a slap in the face. Actor picks the wrong sound crew to mess with. Here's another little tale from my days working in the entertainment business. Very early on in my career, I managed to get a gig working as a showman, a person hired in just to work on the show, on stage electrics, and follow spots on a major West End musical. Even though I was nominally a sound engineer, the chance to work on a big show in albeit a different capacity was too good to pass up. When you're a youngster in this industry, you would be daft to turn down such an opportunity because the experience garnered is invaluable, even if it's not directly related to your primary skill set. We spent around 6 weeks working on the production fit-up. Most of the time, I was working on rigging lamps, running cables, installing additional dimmer racks, yada yada. Sometimes I got to help out the sound crew rigging their kit and thus got to know them quite well. Fast forward to a few months after opening night. Some of the electrics showmen, myself included, had managed to pick up the occasional extra work assisting the daymen, crew who were permanently hired to the theater, doing lamp rounds. This is where you go around the entire theater, front and backstage, replacing burned out lamps. Useful extra money. Thus, I happened to be in the theater well before the half-hour call and was hanging out with the sound crew at the sound desk. There were two of them. We'll call them Pete and Chris. One would run the FOH board for that night's show, while the other would do other jobs like handing out the radio mics to the cast at the half, collect them at the end, and troubleshoot any problems during the show. They had also swapped duties every day. So we hear the half called, and Chris goes off backstage with his box of radio mics to hand them out, while I carry on chatting to Pete. About 10 minutes later, we see Chris returning to the FOH desk looking very distressed. Pete asked him what on earth was wrong. It transpired that the male juvenile lead had bollocked out Chris for some utterly trivial problem to the point where he had been reduced to tears. I should point out that this particular actor was not well liked by the crew because of his arrogant and holier-than-thou attitude. This seriously did not sit well with Pete at all. By this time, the audience was beginning to fill the auditorium, and you could hear the ambient chatter level going up. Pete then grabbed his headphones and, parking one earpiece over his right ear, proceeded to punch in the pre-fade listen button for that actor's channel. A grin then crept over his face. He then brought the channel live and very slowly raised the channel fader. He handed Chris the cans, and a huge grin also spread across his face. Chris then handed me the cans so I could hear what had amused him so much. I listened in, to be confronted by the sound of the actor right in the middle of taking a full throttle dump. We are talking grunts and groans, and levels of flatulence quite the equal of the trumpets that flattened the walls of Jericho. Bear in mind that this sound is now being leaked out into the auditorium, albeit at a level just barely perceptible to the audience. I glanced around at the punters in the stalls and saw that quite a few people were looking around quizzically. I had to struggle to rein in my laughter at the delicious payback, but as it was getting close to Act 1 Beginners, I had to go off and take my station. So I high-fived my friends and went through the stage pass door to the electrics crew room to be confronted by my colleagues falling about in hysterics. It was then that I became aware of a peculiarity with the show relay. For context, the show relay is a microphone, front of house, and a bunch of speakers all over the backstage and dressing room areas that allow cast and crew to listen in to the progress of a show. Due to a curiosity of its design, what was just barely audible out front was now being hugely magnified backstage. The entire cast and crew, no matter where they were being subjected to the sounds of our actor dropping the kids off at the pool at practically full volume. For the rest of the show, the hapless idiot had to contend with the entire cast and crew giggling uncontrollably whenever he went past, and all the while remained completely oblivious to the reason why, as the one place there were no show relay speakers was in the toilets. Next we've got, I'm not paying a finder's fee for stolen property. Thief earns himself a felony instead. I had just moved to a new city for work and had been working there for about 3 months, so I'm still pretty new to the area. My apartment complex, I would say, is in a nicer part of the city and is pretty well kept, so I didn't really expect anyone to go and try breaking into cars. I was set to travel and had a pretty early drive, so I had packed everything for my week-long trip the night before so that I could get up and just get on the road. The next morning, I walk out to my car and I see clothes off to the side of my car, and thinking it was weird, started to look around the car. Turns out, my car had been broken into and was cleaned out. Out of the trunk, they took my laptop bag, which had both my personal computer and a government computer, 2 gym bags, one that had my work clothes and the other had my workout clothes and personal hygiene stuff, and a backpack that had my Nintendo Switch and office supplies in it. They also took $50 out of the console where I kept change and random bills for parking. This obviously throws a wrench into my work travel, so I call my supervisor and explain the situation and come back into work. It's my fault. I left all that stuff in my car, so I had to go to our security/IT office and explain what had happened and see what the next steps were to get a new work computer. During this meeting with the physical security manager, which was 3 hours after I found my car broken into, I get a call from a local number, and turns out that this guy had found my laptops on the side of the road when he was coming home from visiting his mom. My bag had a "contact me if found" phone number. Conversation goes as follows. Guy: "Hey man, I found your laptops on the side of the road. I figured you would want them back. They look pretty important." Government laptops are plastered with stickers with official jargon and returning instructions. Me: "For sure. I am currently at work now, but I can come meet you or whatever works." "Yeah, man. I'm just coming back from visiting my mom, so I'm trying to get home so I can relax." "Cool. I can make it work. Can you text me your address and everything so I can just come to you?" "I'll send it to you here in a second. It's also my birthday, so if I could get some money for like a finder's fee or whatever, I think that would be cool." "Yeah, man. Whatever you need. See you in a bit." As soon as I get off the phone, I call the local police in that area and explain that this guy is trying to extort money from me to get stolen goods back. They instruct me to meet them a few blocks away from the residence, and they will send a plainclothes cop and officers to act on my behalf, so I am not in direct contact with the guy, just in case, since the situation sounds sketchy. I go and meet them where they go to the residence. The guy is hesitant seeing the cop cars and takes a few minutes to return the bag, with the laptops in it. They bring the bag to me to identify the laptops, and everything's still there. I accept the bag and got my laptops and bag back. Easy enough. On the drive back to work, no more than 15 minutes later, this guy still had my number and starts going off. Bad, unreadable spelling, and all is seething through text messages on how I could get the police involved. He was trying to be a good Samaritan, and he should have thrown my stuff in the grab bag. So I did the normal thing and blocked the number. Now, I'm still missing everything else, including the Nintendo Switch, which was in a case with 7 games. Important. I was originally going to take the loss on it and take it as a stupidity tax since it was almost impossible to get back. However, something didn't sit right with me with this guy, and thinking if he did have it, he was going to try to sell it fast and cheap. I went on to Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, searching for a Switch for cheap around the same location as his house. Bingo! The ad read, $200 Nintendo Switch with 7 games and case lightly used, no charger or dock, must be gone today. The location was enabled and was within 2 miles of his address. The phone number was the same, and the dock and charger were in my apartment. So I had a buddy of mine who lived in the next city over contact him, asking if he could hold on to it till tomorrow since he wouldn't be in town until the next day and would pay him $300 instead. The dude agrees and also gets him to read off all 7 games that were there. This was to buy us more time so I can go coordinate with the police. The next morning, I get everything together to go make a case to police to assist me with this. Police report, the Craigslist ad, the serial number from Nintendo, the screenshots of the text messages between him and my buddy. I make my case, and the police agree to do the same thing as the day before and meet me somewhere else to go over what the plan was. I meet them and go over his address and what all I had missing. These are different officers than the day before, and they recognize the address and the home. We found out this guy is known for this stuff and is currently on probation. So we come up with a plan where my buddy will call us on his work phone so we can hear the conversation and call him on his regular phone to see what's going on. The police use a plain car, go to this meetup spot, and acting like my buddy, scoop the guy up and get him to cough up the rest of the stolen goods. They were able to recover all my items, including all my clothes and bags. He ends up going to jail and earns a new felony on his record for receiving stolen property. I think I would have lost the rest of it if I didn't do the digging on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. Next we've got owner fires me, gets sweet, sweet karma. Editor's note: I did not realize this story would be a long one, so this will be part 1 of 2. Hey guys, first time poster here. I'm also on mobile and writing this on the spot, so please don't get too violent with me. Anyways, here's the tale of an evil restaurant owner that gets what's been coming to her. Late last year, I started working at a hole-in-the-wall restaurant in the mountains of southern Appalachia. Finding this job was a blessing, as it was a well-paying job due to the location it was in, next to a state forest, and the clientele that ate there. The restaurant was small, inviting, and surprisingly fairly fancy for the location. Tables were custom-made by the GM's husband, landscaping was done by the owner's husband, and the cooks were some of the best I've ever seen. We were situated in between 2 high-class communities that had residents that were more than generous. When I walked in for the interview, I was basically hired on the spot due to my background in the service industry, and I would be starting the next morning at 7 a.m. Everybody there seemed to get along well and welcomed me into their family with warm hearts and open arms. Now, let's get to the cast. We've got me. We've got FOH manager. We've got general manager. We've got cool worker 1, cool worker 2, and last but not least, the owner. I shall refer to her as Lucifer, a play on her name and the nickname I gave to her. A few months passed as we were getting out of our busy season, which were the fall and winter months. Our area takes in a lot of tourists and non-locals who visit the mountains on summer break who want to be close with nature. Since summer came to an end, we were about to lose some business, so we had to make some cuts to staff. Thankfully, owner wanted to keep me around since me and FOH manager basically carried the weight of that place on our backs, but wanted to lay off cool worker 2. I never really understood why FOH manager and general manager were fearful and reluctant of owner's business practices. I thought owner was actually a pretty cool lady until the day she gathered us all up for a meeting on the back patio of the restaurant. Owner sat down and began with a smirk on her face. "Due to the coming months, we will be losing business. I can only handle a few servers, so I will be making cuts. Me and general manager have decided that cool worker 2 will be laid off until the warm season starts again." Surprisingly, cool worker 2 was okay with this, as she had a side gig working as a therapist. "All right, owner, just let me know when you want me to come back. I'll be in touch." Cool worker 2 wasn't the most competent of servers, as she was kinda gray and couldn't handle the stress thrown at her sometimes. She has a heart of gold, and I love her to death, but I understood why owner wanted to lay her off. So I acted cool about the whole situation, even though I was melancholy on the inside about losing a close coworker. Everything was smooth sailing after that, until the holidays came around. It was a week before Christmas, and business was surprisingly starting to pick up. Me, FOH manager, and cool coworker 1 found ourselves in the weeds several times and requested that either owner or general manager could come help us out. During the peak of the rush, FOH manager came to me with tears in her eyes and fully flustered out. "Are you good?" I asked her. "No, I'm backed up with tables right now, trying to handle the front lobby," which was packed with a 45-minute waiting time crowd. "I can't get a hold of general manager, and owner doesn't want to help." "Wait, what do you mean owner doesn't want to help? Doesn't she run this place?" "Yes, but she says that it's not her job to pull us out of the weeds, and that we need to fix this situation ourselves, or else she'll start sending people home." "What? That's insane. She actually said that to you?" "Yep, so we just gotta try our best and push hard." I looked at FOH manager, trying to be as reassuring as possible. "We got this. Just think about the end of the day when we're counting all our tips. It'll be worth it in the end. Just hang in there." FOH manager smiled at me, and we returned to our grind. Just by chance, about an hour after me and FOH manager's conversation, the internet gave way. Our POS system, Toast, can only run properly when connected to the internet, so we had to announce that until the internet issue is fixed, we can only take cash. Well, this really upset half of the customers, as they were only paying with their big hefty golden metallic American Express cards. FOH manager looked like she was about to lose her mind. She paced back and forth in the kitchen, trying to reassure herself that everything would be okay. Cool coworker 1 and I walked over to FOH manager to try and calm her down, but it was to no avail. Me, being the self-pronounced computer expert, decided to investigate the internet issue. I walked back to the office to find owner messing around with the router. "What's going on with the internet? We have customers that can only pay with card up front, and your FOH manager is freaking the heck out." Owner looked at me with an enraged face. "We won't be having internet for possibly the next couple of hours. AT&T says they will send somebody up to fix it, but I'm not confident they'll get here soon." "So what are we going to do about all the people that can't pay with cash? Some of them are in a rush to get out and don't have time to wait for the internet to come back on." "I will personally go out there and let them know that they are not allowed to leave until they give a valid form of pay. If any of them leave, I will be calling the sheriff's department to let them know that we have people stealing." "Can't we just get their names and phone numbers or something? I can't deal with this raucous crowd. Your tables aren't turning and you're losing business. There's gotta be something we can do." Owner cuts me off. "No, if they ate, they are going to pay. I will not be losing money off of some faulty internet. And who are you to tell me about my business? You're a server. You don't know anything about business. Go tell them they'll have to stay then. I'm not going to be the one getting my behind chewed out for something that's not even my fault. Go out there and tell them if they ate, they will have to stay. It's not my job to go out and deal with the public. You're a server for a reason. Now go out there and do your job. I reluctantly walked out to the front and informed FOH manager that owner would not let anybody who has eaten leave without paying. Chaos ensued for the next 3 hours as the three of us had to deal with angry customers. Fast forward 2 months. FOH manager has put her 2 weeks notice in. As soon as she put her notice in, owner fired her. I don't take notices. You're either here or gone for good. Now get out of my restaurant. FOH manager left in a rage-filled fit as she cussed out owner and pointed out all the things she's been doing wrong. I don't know who you think you're talking to, honey. I'm the most powerful businesswoman in the country, and I can make sure you never get a job again. In fact, if I hear about or see you working anywhere in this county, I will have you fired. Nobody talks to me like that and gets away with it. I questioned the legality of this statement made by owner to cool coworker 1. We can take this to the Better Business Bureau, but I don't want to risk being blackballed in my home county, said cool coworker 1. 2 hours after FOH manager was fired, owner came up to me and promoted me to new FOH manager. The voice in the back of my head was telling me not to take the promotion, but I didn't want to question what owner wanted, as I just witnessed what her potential could be on ruining my career. The story of my time as manager will be coming soon, and it'll be much more juicy than this. If you read this, thank you, Mr. Reddit. You've carried me through several months of anxiety and given me a glimmer of positivity and happiness through your stories. Thank you. Part 2 will be coming soon. And shoutouts to our re-generals of the day, Fleetfoot, Black Thunder, Chissy Spider, and Unicorn Skeleton. Become tomorrow's re-generals by leaving as many re's as you can in the comments below.